Welcome to the 3 Degrees of Freedom podcast, where we explore lifestyle engineering with our expert guests to bring you in alignment with your own 3 degrees of freedom, location, time, and financial independence. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the 3 Degrees of Freedom podcast. Today, we are joined by Mr. Rey Salazar, an investor and coach with the Trust Your Talent Academy. With a background forged in the demanding corporate world, Rey honed his skills and intuition in the realm of sales, even earning awards from multinational corporations. But the time equals money equation just didn't quite align with his aspirations, so it drove him to chart a new path. And ever since embarking on his investing journey in 2011, Rey has ventured into various markets and strategies while cultivating his unique superpower, which is called techno intuition, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit. This extraordinary ability allows him to navigate complex technological systems, identify flaws, and devise innovative solutions effortlessly, which is something that you and I have a little bit in common, which is cool. We're going to talk about that a little bit more. And he uses this power to guide others towards financial independence, all while embracing the philosophy that a rising tide lifts all boats. But Rey's story just isn't about personal success. It's about the importance of learning from others and not having to make every mistake and lesson on your own. So, Rey, awesome to have you on the podcast. How are you today?
Doing fantastic, and thank you for having me on here.
Yeah, it's to get you on here. We have to tell a little bit more about the audience about how we met. Do you want to cover that a little bit?
For sure. So my husband and I were always looking for growth, and we're taking on how to learn to be better coaches so that we can coach our students. And we flew from Canada all the way down to Texas. And during one of the breakout groups, and is it okay to say the event? Brendan Burchard. We were in the same breakout group, and as we were sharing what's coming up for us for the next year, we found out we were both real estate investors. So we just geeked out at the moment, and I'm pretty sure everybody else in the group was looking at us like we had a third eye as we were throwing out terms, and they were just lost in the conversation.
Yeah, it was really fun, and it was super crazy to meet a fellow real estate investor. Because for those who don't know, Brendan Burchard is actually a master online coach, and so he does a lot of coaching stuff. And I was there. My wife is the coach in our business, right? And so I have a feeling it correlates well with the Trust Your Talent Academy. Lots of things that you're doing in the coaching world there. But for me, I was just there kind of twirling my thumbs and trying to be supportive to my wife. And I love this stuff too. I love personal development and everything, but it's really cool to run into a fellow real estate investor and coach at the event. Anyway, fantastic, Rey. Let's just go ahead and jump in though, because we have a lot to cover. So first thing is, our show is about the 3 degrees of freedom, which is location freedom, time freedom, and financial freedom. Which one do you feel that you are either the strongest in or you're looking to pursue the most? And if you could give us a reason as to why, that'd be awesome.
Okay, perfect. The freedom that I'm pursuing the most right now is location freedom. And it's often described by our friends, our current home, as cheap storage, because we are constantly on the go. As you can see, I'm not the most Canadian looking fellow. So one of the things that my husband and I and business partner pride ourselves on is creating the sort of life where we do not have limitations, including physical location limitations. So one of the things I'm currently working on is systematizing everything as much as possible. And that's why I loved talking to you at Brendan Burchard about what you're doing and finding ways to ensure that everybody gets what they want when they want without me being locked in Canada.
Amazing. I love it. So let's explore that a little bit more, because I have a feeling it has to do with your techno intuition skill that you have, right? Very cool term, actually, because I've been struggling to find a way to describe what it is that I do for other people as well. And this is really cool. I'm going to be probably borrowing this for sure. Yeah.
So, let's share it. How about that?
Yeah, let's talk about it a little bit more. I wanted to know where this came from, like where this talent came from and how it has helped you in the past overcome a challenge that then reinforced that, hey, I should be continuing to do this type of thing. So if you could tell me a story or anything about like where it came from, that'd be awesome.
For sure. I'm not sure the demographics of the audience. However, at some point, most of us have experienced writing a paper, a research paper in post-secondary. So imagine being 20 years old, spending 3 months putting together a research paper. And to be extra safe, you buy a brand new computer and then it dies. Taking 3 months, countless hours, many sleepless nights with it. And by the way, this was back in the days of discs, those smaller discs, not massive floppy discs. Mm-hmm. And 20-year-old me did not know about backing up because I just bought the fanciest computer that I could buy, really that I couldn't buy because I didn't know much about financial education back then. And it died. And the lesson I took from that is I got to know my stuff. I got to know my stuff so I'm not victim to somebody falling asleep in the job in Japan or China somewhere. Mm-hmm. And so with that, I started changing the way I thought about everything around me in terms of systems and backups. And Derek, I'm not sure. Actually, you're lucky we didn't run into each other at the hotel. The backpack I bring with me at all times weighs 80 pounds. And I always share with everyone, I am able to run our real estate business and Trust Your Talent Academy anywhere in the world. So should a war break out and I'm trapped at an airport like Tom Hanks in that movie, business will carry on. The people that rely on me will be able to rely on me, and I'll go to bed knowing I did my best and prepared the most that I could prepare.
I love it. That's great. You and I share that in common because my wife and I, we have like 6 pieces of actual usable luggage that we take along with us to all the places that we go travel to. And usually there's like a big computer or tech case, right, that we keep like all of our stuff in, like this microphone, right, and the camera that I'm talking to you on. We happen to be remote also, and so we're able to continue to take this with us, but we have to pack it all and everything.
Oh yeah.
So I totally can relate with you, and that's really cool stuff. Is there anything about this skill that you have, like any specific tools or techniques that kind of like kicked it off for you? Was there an automation, or was it mainly just like the backing up and like trying to figure out how to automatically take care of things in case things get lost? Talk a little bit about that in the early days.
So what kicked it off for me was being a 20-year-old something, lots of time, not a lot of knowledge or money yet. I was thinking of ways to improve the way I did everything, from researching to making sure my Napster collection worked. For those of us old enough to know what Napster is.
That is. That's cool.
And then growing into making sure that whichever direction I wanted to grow, I could have the hardware knowledge to back it up. So in this case, from that one experience, I grew into web design and brand management. So I started reaching out to people on, again, something else that'll date me, Yellow Pages, looking at their ad and calling them saying, hey, is this really the way you want your clients to see you? And is it really doing you benefit for it? And so from there, again, new ventures, new pain points, new learning opportunities, an additional way to systematize and then grow.
Yeah, that's great. So a lot of this rings very similar to me in the fact that when I was growing up, I always wanted to categorize things, and I was super good with like digital organization. So I was like using folders, and I wasn't necessarily good on like the hardware side. I just made sure I had an external hard drive to plug into. Back once the USBs came in, that's when I was really serious about all this stuff. So you could plug into a solid state and move stuff over. So that was kind of my experience. But looking back, that's also how I kind of started to get really, really like involved in this stuff and like organizing and making sure that you're building a structure that you can refer to later, and just information management in general, which is really cool. So I wanted to ask you, go ahead. It looks like you wanted to.
I wanted to jump on that. I mean, I had the similar experience when I was building websites for other businesses and for myself. I mean, created a hobby website. And I got very good at, like what you said, naming conventions and organization, that I could, with my eyes closed, 3 fingers, name multiple photos or files, like 60 seconds, 60 files, gone.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so cool. I love it. That stuff makes me really happy to talk about. But there are probably listeners out there who don't think like us.
No.
And my question to you is, if there are people out there that don't think like us, do you have any advice for them?
I would say one of my biggest learnings right now from doing things that don't necessarily come easily or are not easy to learn quickly is get somebody else to do it. Mm-hmm. Because time is going to pass and we are never going to get that back. Meanwhile, our goal still remains there, and really regret is the most horrible thing. Mm-hmm. Especially when we know we could have done something about it, and all of this is so accessible. So hire it out. For those of you out there who love books, Who Not How changed my life.
Yeah, incredible book by Dan Sullivan. Extremely well recommended, comes well received from almost everyone that I've talked to as well. So that's amazing advice. Appreciate that. Okay, let's shift a little bit here. I want to talk about the intersection of technology and real estate investing, because that's kind of where you're at right now, and that's something I wanted to explore. Technology, real estate investing never used to be in the same sentence together, but nowadays it's a buzzword. Like, a lot of people are looking for this type of thing. What do you see, since this is what you guys do, you and your partner? How do you see these two areas evolving and creating opportunities for people who want to invest and create freedom for themselves?
I think what it's done for us is save so much time. And of course, make the whole business of real estate investing freer or less heavy, unless, of course, they're like me and you, and we carry 50 pounds of equipment wherever we go.
Yeah, very heavy.
I remember when I started, real estate investing was about being as close to our printer as we can, and as close to our realtor as we can, and mortgage broker, and we're sending documents or faxing it in, maybe. However, now it's as easy as snapping a photo of our signature on an offer and sending it to the right person. And that just is a game changer. Like imagine, there's so many people out there who still think real estate investing is about collecting doors and having the fanciest pen possible to impress the people around you. I mean, that was in the 80s. Welcome to the 2000s. That's gone.
Yeah, I love the fact that this actually happened to me. I was closing on a property while we were driving. This is a multifamily, while we were driving somewhere. And the title company needed my signature, so they sent me a DocuSign, and I signed it while I was in the car driving. And just thinking back, even 20 years ago or 10 years ago, that would be very rare, or almost not, like impossible, basically, completely impossible. And that's just on the transaction side, I guess.
Yeah.
Asset management, and for investors to be able to see, to contribute capital to other opportunities that are out there. And then the information space, what it's doing for property managers. There's just so much out there that real estate tech is enabling for people. So yeah.
And part of it too, I believe, which is a lot of people overcomplicate this whole idea of including tech to create their time freedom and location freedom. I mean, based on your story, I remember we were doing a cruise from California to Texas, going through the Panama Canal. And we were transacting on a property in Arizona.
Yep.
So if you can imagine me with a cell phone on the balcony, leaning out towards land, while my husband was busy putting in the offer and making sure our realtor out in Phoenix could receive the PDF and confirm quickly, hey, did it download correctly?
Oh my gosh.
Real estate investing does not have to be complicated. That was done with a 6-foot long lightning cable attached to a Mac.
Yeah.
And we were able to purchase 2 properties.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love it, man. It's so cool. This technology is really, it's shortening the distance between, or closing the distance between a buyer and a seller, or an offeree, right?
Yeah.
It's closing that distance up and making the transaction so much easier. So I really like that for sure. And I'm sure you're noticing that also in your academy and the students that are working with you guys, that this technology is truly enabling, like just from the ability for us to have the Zoom call with one another. It's really incredible. It really is amazing stuff.
Well, and you share that the world is shrinking. This is our business philosophy or investing philosophy, and we share it with our students. Go where the money is working the hardest. And with the technology that we have now, like you mentioned, I don't need to be there calling my property manager all the time. I can log into a portal and see the performance. I can ask for those in the audience that are afraid of investing somewhere 2 hours away because your tenants might have a complaint. I've had a FaceTime call with a tenant complaining about water condensation. They thought it was a leak. It was water condensation from the AC unit.
Yeah.
And that saved me 2 hours of driving. So there's so many things out there on top of more advanced systems that's already available to us if we think outside the box.
100%. I think like when I was first looking to invest out of state, my main reservation was I couldn't put my hand on the property, right? But then I realized, oh, you know what? Like I can have my agent go in and take pictures, or a movie for me, a movie, better yet. And then there's technology out there that's coming that like, have you ever had like a virtual tour on like a unit if you're looking to rent one? Like you can get someone to go out there and literally do that, and if you find it for the right price, maybe $200 or something, depending on what market you're looking to buy it in, then you have pretty much a full 3D blueprint of the entire place that you're looking to buy without even having to go there. And that, when you have that location freedom, frees you up to then be able to do it wherever you want and whenever you want, as long as it's within reason. Obviously, within 24 hours, if you have to respond to stuff, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. But it's just really, really cool to see all that stuff there. Really, really
sure.
Cool.
And for those of your audience who don't know what that technology is, one of the leading ones is called Matterport.
Yes. Great.
Yeah.
Love it, man. That's awesome. So in your journey towards independence, or your journey to seek freedom, what role has this ability to learn from others and avoid making every mistake on your own played? Because that's something that you mentioned before is, you like to learn from other people rather than trying to learn the hard way yourself.
Yeah. I believe it's accelerated the journey, the path to financial freedom. I got myself educated first, learn the basics of real estate investing, got myself a mentorship to put it together. And then with every new market, I got another mentor to show me how everything fits. Mm-hmm. And because of that, it just collapsed the timelines. I understand we're all smart people. However, I don't want to become smart doing everything on my own. I'd really rather learn from somebody else's. So I leverage their time and leverage their knowledge going through it. Yeah. Oh man, I've made my own learnings and that's great. However, it's built on top of other people's learnings, and that makes all the difference into achieving what you and I have achieved at our age versus in our 70s or 80s or other people.
Yeah, well said. Well said. I think that leveraging that is super important, especially when you're at this level. You kind of have to do it because you can't be in all places at once and you don't have time to do all of it, right? So That's just that it is what it is there. Can you tell us a time in which this came handy, or maybe where you learned a lesson that you're like, oh man, I'm glad I learned that, because otherwise I would have probably made that mistake too?
Yeah. So we're putting an offer on a multifamily, and the partner on the ground was saying, do we have to pay for upgraded fire doors? Do we have to? Like I think it was another $6,000 if I recall correctly. And then I remembered, if an inspection was done I believe within a year, we can just leverage the previous inspection. And the partner on the ground didn't know to ask for that. And I remembered from way back when, eons ago, when I took my education, that this is something we can look and ask for from the current owner. And so because of that, yes, it's only $6,000. However, that $6,000 we could put towards the legal fees that we didn't have to outlay. So yeah, that was one of the more recent ones.
That's really good. Yeah, that may have paid for a course or for wherever you paid for that knowledge, if you paid for it.
Paid for the trip to Brendan Burchard.
There you go. Exactly. Very good. I love it. I wanted to ask you too, in your pursuit of financial independence, you also mentioned a passion for preparing multi-course feasts and engaging in competitive board games. Let's talk about that a little bit more. How do you either use your passion for multi-course feasts and competitive board games in your real estate and your investing, and vice versa? I'm curious, like, how that ties into your freedom as well.
For sure. So, look, to give you some background on this, I was the kind of guy in my 20s that would set eggs on fire. That's how bad of a cook I was, or really lack of knowledge of basic principles of cooking. And the first time I got my financial freedom, as in I decided, okay, we're done. I've given my 30 days notice. Now what? I wanted to learn how to cook because it brought so much joy to everyone around me and brought people together. Mm-hmm. And so what I started with was watching YouTube videos to learn techniques, to then borrowing whole cookbooks from the library or buying them, and then cooking 14 course meals. Now, you're mentioning, how does this help with real estate investing? At that point, especially when I was learning a new cuisine, learning a new recipe, I used to have something called experimental night. Mm-hmm. Experimental being, it might be delicious or you might get food poisoning. However, it's in the name, it's experimental night. And what this did was it brought friends, potential business partners together in one place. And of course, when everybody's breaking bread at the same table, it's nicer. It's a very different environment versus sitting across from each other in a hotel lobby in a power suit, like negotiating numbers. Mm-hmm. It just changes the dynamics of it. And that's the kind of place I like to operate in, where it's more relaxed. Everybody's enjoying my meal, or at least if they're not enjoying, they were prepped. And I was a lifeguard, so I'll save them and it'll be great. Lots of good core memories being built there for the cooking side. And for the competitive side, I mean, have you ever worked with somebody that was just like, they were not there. They were not invested. Like when you shake their hands, it was like a cold, dead fish. There's no drive. And so with game nights, I like to show to my potential partners, I'm in it to win it. And if we're on the same team, they can expect that from me in a board game, and they can expect that from me in the real game of life. And I can also see the way they play if somebody's going to be as committed as me. Because if they're not, I'm the wrong fit. We're the wrong fit. And it's better to point them towards somebody else I may know that'll fit their needs and their style.
Yeah. Well said. I did not expect us to go this way, but it makes a ton of sense that the cooking thing and the board game thing ties into who you are as an investor and as a sponsor or as someone who can help guide people. And I just love that there's that way of showing people the psychologically revealing aspects, right? Because that's really what it takes, is people want to know who you are as an individual. And I think while getting some food at the same time, that's always a great way to get to know some people. I wanted to ask you too, just a sidebar too, because I noticed you said earlier on in the conversation that in your 20s and 30s or 20s is when you started getting into this the techno intuition type thing.
Yeah.
can I talk just a little bit about like what happened in your 20s? Because it sounds like you started cooking in your 20s. You started doing potentially these board games in your 20s. And so what happened in that time frame in your life?
So I did not learn how to cook until my 30s.
Okay, all right.
Like you're giving me way too much credit, like
I see.
at all.
Okay.
Yeah. However, my 20s, you know what it is? I fulfilled my parents' wishes in going to university.
Mm-hmm.
And leading up to that point, I thought my purpose was to make sure I fulfilled their wishes, like made them proud. I was making sure that I was a good investment at that point. However, as soon as I did that, accomplished, got the piece of paper, great, it's time to define me. It's time to start experimenting. It's time to start going in places that they didn't go so I can figure out what I want out of life. And that's what kicked off becoming a lifeguard. Nobody in my family is a lifeguard. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever started a business, creating a brand or a website development. Nobody's moved by themselves to an even colder place. Well, that's not true. We all moved from the Philippines to Canada and to Winnipeg. And it's cool. The center of the continent, so it's just freezing. However, most of my family tends to stay together. And I broke out because I wanted to redefine or define me and define what I can contribute to the world. Kind of like you. You're not tied down in any one place, always looking for new experiences, always learning and growing wherever you are. I wanted excitement.
I love this. I have a little bit more insight on this than you probably know, because for the audience, I think most of the audience knows that my wife had the same type of dynamic going on, because I have a feeling that it is a cultural thing.
It is.
Because my wife comes from Southeast Asia.
So
there's this expectation that your parents they want you to do this so that they're doing it for your own good. At least that's what the impression is. And because growing up, there is that dynamic there of you're serving your elders. It's a lot of that Confucius type of thing.
For sure. Know your role in the hierarchy.
Correct. And so you do it for your parents, but I just love that most likely you had this streak to do something on your own from an early age. And then after you made your commitments done and made your family like proud or check the box, right?
Yeah.
Then you went off and did your own thing, which is incredible. And I just love that. And I'm hoping that people out there that also have that type of dynamic going on, that you encourage yourselves to think about Rey's path, especially if you're just starting out, because I can guarantee that Rey is much more fulfilled and feeling in alignment with who he needs to be and who he wants to be as an individual. I just wanted to underscore that a little bit.
Thank you.
Perfect. Before I go on a little bit more about some mindset things, which we do want to do, I do want to talk a little bit about some of the specific techs, the tools and techniques that you use with your techno intuition to help build some of these processes and systems inside your business, because I selfishly want to know as well how you're doing it. What are some top things that you're using right now to help yourself stay organized, get streamlined, efficient, automated? What are some recent things that you guys recently implemented for that?
I see. Recently implemented. You and I both have VAs. I found a new VA that I can hire more on a contract hourly basis to do my technical automations. Because my current VAs, as lovely, loyal, and great people as they are, told me flat out, Rey, I do not enjoy this. I can do it, and I do not enjoy this. And so we found somebody else to do that technical stuff, which is really, for us, maybe 2 weeks, 3 weeks every quarter. And so it doesn't make sense to hire a full-fledged person. And they were brought in because we wanted to automate everything as much as possible. Anything low value, it's out. And so things like following up with people, out.
How do you identify that? Like, how do you identify what's low value?
Low value would be something that isn't driving the bottom line necessarily. So if it's not going to lead to a new opportunity, if it's not building a new relationship, if it's not building the brand per se with an individual or a group of people, it doesn't really need a person. Or it can be set up once, automated, and it runs on its own. So things like when I booked with you, you used Calendly, basic technology now. However, for those of us who existed on a computer prior to 2010, it was painful booking a meeting. It was back and forth, especially over email or text until you got to call them.
Yeah.
And so one and done. And then the next step of that is they booked a call. However, how on earth do you want to hit the ground running on that call? Or is that 30-minute call, 10 minutes of it figuring out what we're on the call about?
Right.
So building in a form as part of that workflow and creating separate calendars for specific businesses or specific roles that we have. So then I can have a customized form to fill out integrated. Like I don't have to email it out. It's just, hey, you need to fill out this form, pick a date. It exists in both of our calendars at once. And then I can also reach out based on the form because like you, I want to be sure I'm ahead of my week. If I need anything else, I can ask them ahead of time so we have more productive in sync time.
Yep. 100%. I agree with this wholeheartedly. And it is these systems that you're talking about that enabled me to be able to talk with people while I was in Europe and Portugal, living there in 4 months a year ago. And while we were out there, instead of me like having to answer emails back and forth about what time works, or, hey, can you get your headshot over to me? Like this for this podcast, right? Can you get your headshot to me? What's your bio description? And making sure that it's in before the recording goes so that I can read the intro and all of those things. Imagine what your life would be like if that was all taken care of and you don't have to deal with that admin. So all you got to do, which is what I do right now, is I just step up to the plate, hit the record button. I have my notes open here, which is all ChatGPT generated. So that intro that I made was done by ChatGPT taking my bio and my prompt, and it was done that. And all these questions are also preliminarily given from ChatGPT, and then I edit them a little bit because it's not always perfect 100%. But all I got to say is that you can batch all of these things and do them in an order so that you can, the person can get what they need, all those inputs come in, and then you have a system to build the outputs that's required. So I don't have to spend my time in Portugal, like figuring out, okay, did the bio come in and did the headshot come in, right? I'm not doing any of that. I have a system built that people automatically have to do that. And that's what's so beautiful about all this. And when we built this, we had to do it when we were in Europe because I was otherwise spending all of my time in front of the computer rather than enjoying the place that we're in. So I just thought I'd throw that out there.
The other tool, and I would call this my duct tape, as it were, Pabbly. Have you ever heard of Pabbly?
I have heard of Pabbly. I think I'm using Zapier.
Yes. So
it's like similar tool. Yeah.
Similar tool. The difference being with Pabbly, I could buy a lifetime subscription, like buy it once and it's there. Zapier, it has more breadth. It connects to more tools. However, for things that are more common, I use Pabbly. And it's one and done, and it duct tapes all of my software together. So it's not between every process and system resides a human being, which just really breaks it down and exposes everything to more errors. It's done by Pabbly.
I love it, man. That's great. I'm going to take a look at that. I know you mentioned it at the conference. But I'm going to have to take a look at that and see if there's things we can offboard from Zapier into that. Anyway, cool. So I have one last question before we head into the rapid round. Okay. Because we're getting actually short on time and time. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the Trust Your Talent Academy. It focuses on coaching investors. Can you talk a little bit about the core philosophy when it comes to helping other people achieve this financial freedom through the Trust Your Talent Academy?
Right. Thank you. it's focused on creating financial independence one person at a time. And so what does that mean? It means making sure that if somebody really wants to make a difference in their life, the tools are there so that they can at minimum, make enough from investing to equal what they make at work at their job, or we like to call it job, or just over broke. And then from there, the world is their oyster. The sky's the limit. They can keep on growing. And with us, the teaching philosophy is it's about customized handholding. Because really, if people wanted all the data and the info, watch YouTube for 5 years, and I'm sure you'll come across some good nuggets to run with. However, do you want to be 5 years older before you finally take action? Or do you want structured learning now backed by somebody who's done it? And somebody who's done it, that's not going to ask you for money. Okay, here's my deal. You want to invest in my deal now that I taught you? Because for us, that just means the people are being trained just enough to invest with them. And it's good to have that clarification. Do they want to become independent business owners, investors, or do they just want to know enough so they can invest with others? I believe this is a clarification, and transparency needs to be shared openly about this and what everybody's intentions are.
Yeah, I love that. Issue with most of the people out there that are educators or investors that are starting is that they don't have that foresight, and so they'll trust a connection and they won't triangulate around like people that have already done it before and people that have invested with this particular person before or invested in a system. And so I think there's just a lack of people want to go into things without doing all the homework because they don't have the time for it, or they don't have the energy, or there's some fill in the excuse here, right? Like some blank space.
Just gonna say,
yeah, but
victim mode, fill in the blank.
That's right. But I think what I love about like education is that it always will, like Warren Buffett is quoted of saying that education is the only thing that never goes down in value.
Yeah.
Because it's something that you can always learn from, and it helps you make better decisions overall as an individual, and that never goes away. That never goes down in value. So I just love what you guys are doing there with that. And that's super, super cool. So at the end of the show here in a few minutes, we'll ask you, Ray, how people can get in touch with you on that. So, but before we do, let's talk about the rapid round. It is 5 questions that we ask every one of our guests, and they're meant to be answered in about 30 seconds. So each. So if you're ready, are you ready for us? Okay.
Let's do it.
All right. Number 1. Name any resource that was or still is essential in your journey to pursuing freedom now.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Awesome book.
A book.
Amazing book. And why is that?
Keeps me sharp on what it was like in the past. What it was like before real estate investing, and it reminds me to be grateful for where I am. And gratitude is a huge part of my life. And I intend on making sure that if it's coming from me, I'm able to share it with everybody else I come across.
Wonderful. All right. Question number 2. If you woke up and your business was gone and you had $500, a laptop, a place to live, and some food, what would you do first to rebuild? I
would create some signs and start looking at real estate that I can start wholesaling.
I love it, man. That's awesome.
Buying coffee for as many people as I remember that were still interested in working with me, and make sure I give them deals that create value for both sides.
I love this action-oriented thinking. You just went right to it. You knew exactly what was going to happen. Some people like think about it for a second, but I love this action orientation that you got there. Amazing. All right. Number 3, can you tell us a little bit about your self-reflection and goal-setting practices, if you have any?
For sure. I'm a kinesthetic learner. So every morning I have a gratitude journal, and pen on paper, write it out. And then at the end of the day or the week, I have a shit that happened journal. So making sure that I pull it out of my head so it's not staying within me and staying toxic. And then I can look at it reflect, and figure out what can I do better as a next step action item.
I like that a lot. That's great, man. I got to incorporate my journaling back into my routine, just because I felt more centered and level in the middle of it.
Yes.
So I think learning a lot of stuff from you here, Ray. That's good stuff, man. All right, number 4. What are the main core work habits or attributes that you mainly attribute to your success?
Let's see. Persistence.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's frustrating doesn't mean it's not meant for me. It means there's greater value on it, because most likely more people give up than figure it out. It doesn't mean I have to do it myself. It just means I got to find a solution.
Right.
So that's number 2, is it doesn't have to be me. A lot of entrepreneurs out there think that, oh my goodness, I'm the boss, I got to do everything. Then you become the bottleneck. I was the bottleneck. Out, time for growth and create more win-wins for everybody. 3, good technology. Don't cheap out on your tech, because I had my Mac die on me in Bali, and a 4-hour flight later, I was in Singapore, and I had a new motherboard and a new Mac.
Yeah.
Like, you pay peanuts, you get monkeys. And when your business runs on your technology, don't cheap out, because that's how you're putting food on the table. And 4, make sure you don't forget yourself in the hustle bustle of creating your empire, because you're not a machine. I'm not a machine. And it's nice to give back to ourselves.
I love that, man. There's such gold there. I think that tech piece is super important, because I'm looking at my laptop right now, and I've been using this laptop for like 3 years, and it's still going strong because I invested a lot of money into it's a PC, not a Mac.
Yeah. And that's fair.
But the thing is that this PC has seen me grow my portfolio from 18 units all the way to over 400. And it was the primary device that I would use to talk to people. I'm doing the podcast through it. It's just really incredible what you can do with just a little bit of good tech. And so I have to underscore that there. All right. Last question I've got for you for today.
Okay.
Well, second to last question, but It is for people who are just starting out. And I know we mentioned the Purple Bible, which is Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
That's right.
What do you recommend to people to help jumpstart their success? Maybe if they're just getting started and want to jump to that next level.
Other than the Purple Bible, another book that has changed the game for me greatly is Atomic Habits. Because a lot of new investors out there think that it's going to be willpower that gets them through. And really creating the right environment for us to succeed is way more powerful than trudging along and making sure that we're going to overpower the resistance and the forces in our lives and our environment. So instead of that, start making incremental changes wherever you are in your career or your socioeconomic status. Get started, make a space for you to succeed, and then keep at it. A step forward is better than standing still.
Wonderful. Man, this has been awesome. A lot of this stuff, like I can relate with a lot because I think we think in the same way. So it feels like listening to myself, some of these things.
But I knew there's a way why we're drawn to each other magnetically in that room of 400 people.
It's crazy, man. It was meant to be. Anyway, I'm glad that you were able to come on the show. But before we go and end the show, why don't you tell people a little bit more about how they can get in touch with you or your academy or anything you'd want to talk about right now before we close the show up?
For sure. If you're interested about learning more about investing in real estate, regardless of it's in the US or in Canada or both, you can go to our website. That's www.trust, T-R-U-S-T, your, Y-O-U-R, talent, T-A-L-E-N-T.ca, and find out what's there for you. And if you're ready to start talking and really bounce some ideas, see if this is for you, talk to an actual real estate investor, go to book a call with a coach, and one of our strategy coaches will reach out to you during that meeting, again, that calendaring that you and I talked about, and see if Trust Your Talent is right for you. And other than that, we are on YouTube, Trust Your Talent. We're on Facebook, Trust Your Talent. And the funny thing with Instagram, it's Trust Your Talent that way. The guy who owns the other one just refuses to let it go, regardless of how much money we say we're going to pay for it. So
of course,
here we are.
Sounds good. All right. Well, thank you very much, Rey, for coming on the show. And thank you, audience, for listening to the podcast. And if you're all the way at this point here, I would greatly appreciate it if you could thumbs up, like, subscribe, or comment. Just find a way to engage with us wherever you're listening or watching this podcast. We want to hear from you. We want to learn more about whether or not this has been content that's extremely valuable to you, and just get some feedback in general. Please do that. Participate with us. We want to appease those algorithm gods so that we can get more exposure to more people. And so I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, Rey, for coming on the show. It was awesome having you here. And
thank you for having me, Derek.
Yeah,
it's been great.
So much fun. And yeah, thank you, everyone. We will see you guys next week.
See you next week, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Oh, actually, you'll see them.
Yeah.